What is going on, everyone? Israel back again with another video. In today's video, we're going to be covering everything in the recent feature premiere talking about Storyline Season 2. So the first thing that is kind of shown here is that they actually got to meet with Congress, which is pretty cool. You can obviously see Nationals Park in the background. Yeah, playing Ramon and Bob Kendrick, the owner, of the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, as you can see right here. They get to flown out to Washington, D.C., and kind of pretty much just because the Negro Leagues and it's educating about video games and stuff, and that's what they were kind of showing here. It was actually pretty cool that, PlayStation and the league kind of helped them set this whole thing up, which is pretty cool. You can see by all the photos here. And this is pretty cool because they were also saying that they thought this would, never happen, that this was pretty crazy to both of them. So yeah, this was pretty cool. They start off the stream with this talking about their kind of experience here, how it went, how this came to be. And overall, really cool. You obviously see Jared right here, who's on the panel, Bob Kendrick, you obviously see Ramon. I think it was just those three that went, but pretty cool overall. And the next thing that was talked about was obviously the Negro Leagues edition, but the cool thing is they actually have these posters right here of the actual, of the cover, which is pretty cool. I'm pretty sure they did say they would give these away or they would sell them at some point because they only made a certain amount of them. So that is kind of cool. I don't know if you get it with the Negro Leagues edition, but they're pretty much just telling you how they made it, which is pretty cool. Pretty much put it in the old printing presses, which they used in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, which they said only a couple of them are still used today, which is what they use to make these posters, which is pretty cool in my opinion. So they got some history, obviously, because this is how the Negro League stayed alive with the newspapers and stuff, so they did go in depth about that. So really cool overall that they could actually be having these eventually and actually be selling these. So let's talk about how Storyline Season 2 is going to work. As you can see on your screen right here, you're going to have 4 at launch to play with. We're going to get into those 4 today. Then in about 14 days, 2 weeks after launch, you're going to have another 3 guys get into the game. So you're going to have another 14 days, you get another set of 3, and then another 14 days, you'll get the last set of 3. So there'll be 10 total legends coming to the game, which will be pretty sick overall. And I personally think that is pretty cool. So you have 4 at launch. We're going to cover those in just a minute, like I said. And then 2 weeks after the game launches, I don't know if it's on early access. I imagine it's, the 19th when it launches, and then that 2 weeks begins. So everyone has a chance to hop into it. And then 3 weeks, we get 3 new storylines. And the next 3 weeks, we get another 3 storylines. And they said the reason they did this is they kind of want everyone to enjoy the content. They said in 23, released all of them at once. They said they wanted people to enjoy it more because some people are rushing through it just to get the cards, which I can understand. But they said this year they kind of want people to enjoy them more and kind of get into it a little bit more. And you're going to have enough time to play them all if you're playing other modes and stuff like that, which is pretty cool in my opinion. I actually like this better because when you completed storylines, it kind of felt like there was nothing left. So if you knocked it out really early, the mode was kind of useless pretty much. So I do like this model they're doing actually, where you get another 3 legends in another 2 weeks, because that's pretty cool. And there are going to be new cards obviously in the game for Diamond Dynasty, which will be even better. So the first legend they're going to talk about is Josh Gibson, obviously on the Grays right here. So this is some footage they had in game of him and some of the footage that we already got released. I'm pretty sure they announced most of this on Twitter as well. But you can see him in the Grays uniform right here, coming up to the plate. Obviously the Pittsburgh Grays were in the Negro Leagues, and this is one of the new stadiums you can play at as well, which is pretty sick. We have a good image of this we're going to show later in this video. Yeah, really cool video overall. You can see the gameplay right here. Looks pretty similar, from last year. I definitely think some of the graphics on the left side where the the feedback is definitely look a little bit better. But yeah, it's still pretty much the classic kind of style that we saw in 23. The next legend we had is Buck Leonard, who was also on the Grays. Now, these guys were absolutely gross. They were compared to Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig, pretty much for the Negro Leagues. They're like the dynamic duo. And some people even say they're the best dynamic duo in all of baseball, which is definitely interesting to see. So you can also tell this is another new stadium right here. Absolutely demolished that pitch. You can tell the perfect looks a little bit better on that one. But yeah, pretty much the same gameplay. Looks pretty solid overall. Just another new stadium, new uniforms, all that good stuff. Now the third new legend is obviously Henry Aaron, also known as Hank Aaron, who already has a card in MLB The Show, but he also started in the Negro Leagues back in the day before he was on the Boston Braves. So that is very exciting as well. You can obviously see some gameplay right here. He played for the Clowns, which is, obviously these are all new jerseys into the game that you're seeing, by the way. I think they said there's about 10 new jerseys, I think. From the Negro League, so that's pretty impressive. So you can see some gameplay right here. So he's gonna probably have a normal card like he always does, and he's gonna have a Negro Leagues card. So that will be his stuff. This is another new stadium, by the way, that's getting introduced. You can see right there. So yeah, he's the number 3rd legend from the Negro Leagues. And then the last legend is Toni Stone. She was one of 3 women to actually play in the Negro Leagues, which is pretty insane to think about. And this is also the first woman that will be able to be playing within MLB The Show 24 and MLB The Show in general, which is pretty insane. She was also on the Clowns when Hank Aaron got to the MLB. She kind of took his spot pretty much on the team and had to earn her way up to eventually be a starter. And apparently she was pretty good from what everyone's saying. Haven't really looked at her stats from the Negro Leagues, but what I've heard is she's a pretty good player, and she's going to have some pretty decent stats, as we can see some gameplay with her right here. If we take a look, she has 125 contact versus lefties, 117 vision is absolutely insane, 88 speed on the base paths already. So this card should be good across the board. So definitely going to be interesting to have the first women into the MLB The Show. Kind of want to hear your guys' thoughts about that. So those are all your 4 legends at launch. So they're going to display them right here. We have Josh Gibson, Buck Leonard, Hank Aaron, and obviously Tony Stone. And there are no core or set 1 on these cards, by the way, in the top left. I don't know if these are the actual cards are going to go with for this. That's what people have been saying, and I did realize that as well. So those are the 4 legends that we're going to have at launch. So obviously there's 6 more to come that we're going to get, in a month of the game coming out. But those are the 4 they've released already. So it should definitely be exciting to hop into those as soon as the game launches. And yes, I'll be streaming all of my Negro Leagues. So there will probably be 3 streams on the Negro Leagues is what I'm thinking about. 4 at launch, the next 3, and then the next 3. So I did videos, and honestly they weren't really fun to make, so I might stream them just because it's going to be more fun, I think, when everyone's going to be active and playing them. Some other information they did give us about this mode is they said moments will be easier. They've said that they got a lot of feedback from last year. They said a couple of the moments they thought were pretty challenging from last year, like some of the Satchel Paige ones where you had to get hits off of him. You can also now skip moments in this mode because they do realize it's an educational thing for most people. So if you don't really want to play the moment, or you find a moment too hard, you can skip it to go to the next video, which is pretty interesting. I don't know if you're going to actually get the completion for it and get the card at the end of the whole storyline and moment. I imagine you wouldn't. You probably have to complete it, so that is an option if you just want the educational factor from it. Some other things they said is there are going to be video improvements on the whole videos. We obviously had mainly a cartoon kind of format last year, so I'm excited to see what they have. We did have some real footage in there too, but they said a lot of video improvements with the colors and everything like that, the motion graphics, so it should be very exciting about that. They said defensive moments will also be coming to the game as well in storylines, so we're going to have the first ever defensive moments. We never had this, I don't think, in any MLB The Show game at all, moments in general, so that should be very exciting. Like I said, there's also 4, I think, new stadiums that we've seen throughout this whole, feature premiere. So that is very exciting. We obviously love to have new stadiums from the Negro Leagues. Those will be coming in as well. And they said they did update Forbes Field as well. So they added a couple new features about this stadium. We obviously they added some more seats in the upper deck, it looks like, and they made it kind of interesting. I think they made it a little bit better, I guess, from the last time it was in the game. So they did update a couple factors about this stadium, which is pretty cool to see. I like that as well because it was used as the Negro Leagues and the MLB. And this is Greenleaf Field, a new stadium coming to the game. So it should be very exciting. I like this stadium a lot. It definitely reminds me of the Sandlot kind of vibes on this one, which look really solid. I like the old-fashioned light posts. It just looks pretty cool. I love having these old-fashioned stadiums in the game. Me personally, I love the old-fashioned look of baseball in general. So very excited to see this happen. So this was all the major kind of information we got from this. We still don't really know if sets and seasons is really going to be a thing, but just everything about storylines we got to see, with the whole, 10 storylines in general. They confirmed that the 23 ones are coming back, so you should have 18 storylines in season 2, which is very exciting because there were 8 last, in 23. So it should be very exciting to see that. 18 in total. We obviously have 4 new legends, which we went over, a ton of new stadiums, the first women playable character in MLB The Show, which is pretty exciting. The videos should be better. We have new stadiums, defensive moments. The moments will be easier in this mode. So I'm just very excited to get into this one. I'm very excited to stream it, very excited to just hop into this mode and learn about even more players that, I personally had no clue about. Some of these players I had no idea who they were. It happened in season 1. I guarantee it's going to happen in season 2, and I'm excited to hear some more stories about these. But if you guys do enjoy this video, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. What are you looking forward to the most in Storyline Season 2? And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, everyone.